There is an invisible economic law that dictates exactly what stays in your wallet and exactly what vanishes.
When governments dilute a currency, human psychology triggers an automatic, unyielding mechanism. People spend the bad money as fast as possible, and they hide the good money.
You are currently living through the most extreme execution of Gresham's law in human history. The architects are flooding the system with paper illusions while quietly hoarding the underlying physical reality.
Get rid of the paper before it loses all value. The real assets stay hidden. Today, I will show you how to decode the dilution and how to stop being the collateral damage of the 2026 reset.
In the heart of ancient Rome, the seeds of financial ruin were planted. So did its need for silver. To fund their ambitions, emperors began to debase through the centuries. The strategy of diluting wealth is not new. It is the oldest trick in the architecture of empires.
In the Roman Empire, when the state could not afford to pay its massive debts and military costs, they stopped taxing the citizens directly. Instead, they began clipping the coins, replacing pure silver with cheap base metals.
These new copper coins are all we have left. The silver has vanished. Take your goods. The citizens hoarded their pure silver coins.
This was the first great manifestation of Gresham's law. When the state forces you to accept diluted money, inflation explodes. Prices don't go up, the value of the measuring stick collapses. (1971), a pivotal severance agreement reshapes corporate futures. This unlocks the M2 engine, a symbol of innovation and power, driving the future.
Today, the state does not use a hammer and copper. They use server racks and infinite liquidity. But the mathematical outcome is exactly the same.
In 1971, the ultimate restraint on the US dollar was permanently severed. The gold standard was abandoned, transitioning the global reserve currency into a purely fiat system. By removing the physical anchor, the architects gained the ability to create infinite liquidity. Look at the M2 money supply. It took over 200 years to print the first few $1 trillion. Recently, they printed that same amount in a matter of months.
The system wants you to hold the paper. It requires your blind participation to function.
Decode the dilution. Link in description. If you want to know how the architects are protecting their wealth, I publish a private dossier every week called Quiet Returns. Subscribe to the channel now because the 2026 converge in mathly lock. Gresham's law is happening right in front of you. The middle class is holding the bad, diluting paper. The elites are dumping the paper and hoarding the good, physical assets, real estate, land, gold. They are exiting the fiat illusion.
When you work 40 hours a week, you are trading your finite time for a currency that the architects can print infinitely at zero cost. You are storing your life's energy in a leaking battery.
Gresham's law describes how bad money drives out good. This leads to the Great Dilution, what 2020's excessive value in inflation. The consequences will be severe. As economic uncertainty grips the globe, nations are racing to secure their wealth, repatriating gold from foreign vaults. This sovereign repatriation is the ultimate hedge against financial collapse. Up to this point, we have looked at Gresham's law through the lens of the individual citizen. But the ultimate proof of the 2026 convergence is happening on a much grander scale. The digital bonds are being ejected and deleted by the millions. Sovereign nations are playing the exact same game. For decades, global central banks held US Treasury bonds as their primary reserve asset. But as the debt wall expanded, the math changed. Foreign nations realized the paper they were holding was being mathematically diluted. So, they triggered Gresham's law at the sovereign level. They started dumping the bad money. Why? Because when trust in the paper architecture fails, you must hold an asset with zero counterparty risk. Physical gold cannot be printed, it cannot be deleted by an algorithm, it cannot be sanctioned by a foreign server. This is the silent rotation. The Eastern Alliance is quietly building a parallel financial architecture, one that does not rely on infinite fiat debt but is backed by the unprintable reality of commodities, energy, metals, and infrastructure. The architects of the East are not waiting for the 2026 debt wall to shatter. They have already secured the lifeboats. They have traded the illusion of the digital ledger for the absolute reality of the vault.
When the global reserve currency resets, the nations holding the physical foundation will dictate the rules of the new ledger. The sovereign game is already over. The only question left is, what is your exit strategy?
The master plan is set. We exit 567. Bypassing security is critical. Stick to the path. The vehicle is waiting. Precision is key. Initiate sequence now. Move out.
You cannot fix the macroeconomy. You cannot stop Gresham's law, but you can change the architecture of your personal wealth. The fundamental error of the middle class is treating fiat currency as a vault. Fiat is not a store of value. It was engineered to melt. It is purely a medium of exchange. The elites do not hold paper. They pass it like a hot potato to immediately acquire structural assets.
When the global reserve currency resets, the nations holding the physical foundation will dictate the rules of the new ledger. Sovereign game is already over. The only question left is, what is your exit strategy?
Inflation, a silent thief, eroding value through calculated mechanisms. Observe its historiculus of morph, relentless to zero. The path to zero is inevitable.
If I told you there was a tax that takes half your wealth every decade, without a single law being passed.
When the poor do it, you would call it theft. But when the architects do it, they call it inflation.
You have been taught a fundamental illusion that prices are going up. They are not. The measuring stick you use to gauge value is actively shrinking.
This is the blueprint of an empire's decline, the Roman debasement. Over 2 centuries, silver and azanium triggered hyperinflation, with some of the Roman's.
The blueprint was perfected 2,000 years ago. When an empire wishes to expand beyond its means, it cannot simply raise direct taxes. The citizens would revolt. When a central bank injects trillions of new units into the system, the total supply of wealth does not change. Instead, the value of every existing unit is mathematically diluted. So, they debase the currency. They reduce the silver content, mint more coins, and spend the difference. Today, the chisel has simply been replaced by the server rack. Look at the timeline. Since the architecture of the central bank was finalized in 1913, the fiat currency has lost 98% of its purchasing power. This is the shadow tax. It slowly drains the purchasing power of your savings, transferring your stored labor directly to the top of the financial pyramid without you ever noticing. It is on a mathematical path to zero. You cannot save your way out of a system engineered to dilute your effort. To survive, you must move your capital from the ice into the stone. If you want to decode the institutional reset before the crowd panics, tap subscribe right now.